So this season of Ready to Love has been a little lackluster. So I've been watching, but I haven't been reviewing because it really hasn't been a lot going on. But the reunion, it made up for all, I don't know, 8 weeks of anticlimactic content. So this was the Camille, Cornelius, and Zadia show. All three of them showed their ass, continuing the nonsense that they were pulling throughout the entire season. But before I get to them, I want to talk about your boy Frank. I was never a fan of Frank throughout the season. He didn't do anything for me. He seemed like he's a party boy who has that Peter Pan syndrome. He don't want to grow up. He still want to be in the streets running around. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt because he's on the show. And he always said the right things. He was articulate. He said what the woman wanted to hear. You know, he and Sydney seemed like they had some kind of connection because they knew each other from before the show. And then at some point he switched his attention to Mumin and they ended up together. He even met her parents, or her father and her uncle, and her father specifically told her, do not waste my daughter's time. And what did he do? He wasted her daughter's time. So at the reunion, we see them sitting together, and Tanika Ray, who was filling in for Tommy, asked where they are right now. And she said that nothing has happened. It's been status quo since the show ended. And he hasn't done anything. So he professed all of this affection for her throughout the show. He pursued her, the flowers, met the family and everything, and then just dropped the ball. His excuse for this is that he had been hurt before. He holds his feelings close to his vest. What else did he say? The process took a toll on him. He needed to regroup and get back to himself. He's been hurt. He threw everything against the wall just to see what's going to stick. All the things that F-boys say, he said. Frank, I'm starting to feel like he wanted to be on the show just to build his brand. You know, it sounds like he's in the streets, and I don't know if he's a promoter. I don't know what he does, but just like a lot of people use these reality shows just to become popular, just to become social media famous, just to boost their personal business, I'm thinking that's exactly what Frank did. And it sucks because Mumin seemed like she was genuinely about this. She seemed like a truly nice girl, and he screwed her over. And it's one thing if when the show ended, the connection wasn't there, or you got to know somebody behind the scenes and you realized that they aren't who you thought they were, or that it wasn't there. That's fine, but that's not what he said. He said all of this miscellaneous stuff that accounted to nothing. He was just talking in circles, talking about he's been hurt. Who hasn't been hurt, Frank? And that's like Mumin said, every person of a certain age has been through things and has been in hurt in relationships. And like she said, it takes a lot of bravery and guts to come out on this show and put it all out there in order to find love. And you go onto this show hoping that the other people there are doing the same thing that you're doing, so that the intention is genuine. But then you get these F-boys like him who go out there who just doing this, I guess, for clout. He reminds me of Joel from last season, the one who, I don't know, he was from like Louisiana or something, and he had that strong twang, always talking about, you feel me? And he courted Venetia, talked all the good stuff, made it sound like he was down with her, and then as soon as the show ended, he dropped off the face of the earth. This is becoming a trend on this show where people put their all in while the cameras are rolling, and then after the fact, they ghost these people. And all that fake concern that he showed, rubbing on her, looking at her like he was hurt and like, he really felt bad for what he did. But you know how you start to repent for what you've done is you be honest with somebody, number one. And number two, you don't take your ass on a show talking about you're looking for love when clearly you're not. Sydney really dodged a bullet with this one. And maybe she knew something that we didn't because she's known him from before the show, so she knows who he is and what his reputation. But he ain't about nothing. He done hurt this girl's feelings. He done lied to her father. And then had the nerve to say he passionately cares for her. Frank, what does that even mean? Now you making up shit. And again, this is why I wish Tommy was there, because Tommy would have called him to task on his bullshit. But I will say this, my girl Aisha, she gets MVP because every time somebody's on some bullshit, she calls them on it. And that's what I love about her. That's a New York girl. She's not for this nonsense. Moving along, this is why I did this video, because I needed to talk about Camille. I hated her from day one. I can't stand an adult who can't control their facial expressions. It's very immature. It's off-putting. It's not cute, but apparently she thinks it is. And there's so many women like her who are educated and professional and doing well in life, but are mentally stunted. She's a perfect example. She looks good on the outside. She's cleaned up. She cleans up nice, but she's crazy. She is certifiable. And she hinted to it when she started talking to Tanika about all her different personalities and how she names them. And she said it in jest, but I believe she is certifiable. I want to know who these three men are who proposed to her. And now that I see who she is, I don't even know that that's how it went down. It sounds like she proposed to herself, or she told them that they were getting married. She probably targets men just like Cornelius, who are suckers and will do whatever she says. Probably forced them to give her a ring, or maybe she bought her own ring, or maybe there was no ring, but called herself being engaged. And the moment they stepped out of line, did not acquiesce to her ways, the relationship was over. Or perhaps they learned that she was crazy and they stepped out, because we never know why these relationships ended. But this chick is problematic. But she found the right one with Cornelius, because this sucker let her railroad him throughout the entire season, stopped him from talking to anybody, from interacting, from being a part of this process. Just like all the other women were saying, this is a process. Now, it's great. Yeah, you found your one. And if you found your person early in the game, good for you. This is what's flawed about the show, is at the point when two people have exclusively chosen each other, they should leave the show, because now you're just taking up space. And this is where I know Camille is definitely off, is that she don't want nobody else talking to him, but she doesn't want him voted off the show. So why is he here and why are you here if you guys have already matched? So you want to keep him on the show so that he could do what? Just sit around and sit across from you? Like, it makes no sense. And for you to be a PhD candidate, you're so intelligent and all this stuff, why does that not ring a bell for you? Why is that not logical to the point that you are threatening people for voting him off? And that whole threatening thing we're going to talk about in a minute, because that's another piece of her crazy, where you see this chick sit here and boldface lies to the audience knowing that there's evidence of this. So getting back to the reunion, they do a little package and they show Cornelius and Camille's relationship and, how it got to be. And, we saw at several moments where Cornelius did not seem comfortable. He did seem a little intimidated by her, like he knew he couldn't talk to nobody else. And he did even say, after he got eliminated, that he wished he had had the opportunity to get to know other women. So that there is evidence that he felt limited because of Camille's behavior. But then he sits up here and says, because he's been coached and presented with the script that Camille wrote for him prior to this show, talking about he knew from when he first saw her, and that he knows who he is and it doesn't take him a long time. But so then why would you say that you felt like you should have had the opportunity to get to know other people? Like, make this make sense. It's not adding up, Cornelius. It's so evident that she is the puppeteer in this relationship. Now, I don't know if he's just playing along because he too is trying to, like Frank did, trying to create a platform for himself because he's a model or whatever, or maybe he wants to become famous, so he figured, let me just play along, and then when the time is right, I can break up with her. But good luck with that, because this chick got Black Widow written all over her. But anyway, so the girls all start talking about how she was aggressive, she was a bully, she was overbearing, specifically Courtney, because Courtney was somebody early on who was interested in Cornelius, but she was blocked, and Camille basically elbowed her out the game. And as the women are talking, again, Camille is sitting there making faces, rolling her eyes and tilting her head and talking over people because she cannot control herself. This woman is crazy. Sidebar, I'd really love for one of her ex-boyfriends or ex-fiancés or whatever to roll up and give an interview with like Tasha K or somebody, because I want to know the backstory. This chick is like the type, she's Fatal Attraction, boiling rabbits, sugar in the gas tank, burning up your clothes, calling your job. Like, she's that type of crazy. So the word aggressive comes up, and all Black women have heard this before. Again, there is this stigma. There is this the word aggressive can be a trigger for Black women because a lot of folks use it to describe us. And it's almost like they're ringing a bell, right? It's a dog whistle so that people will think that we are combative, we're violent, we're all these things. So yes, I understand the connotation and the weight that's held behind this word aggressive. But when it's appropriate for use, it's appropriate for use. And Camille was aggressive. You know, threatening people is an aggressive behavior. Telling people y'all fuck y'all up, you know what I'm saying, is aggressive. So whether or not, sometimes Black women do behave aggressively. You can't stop using the word because some people have inappropriately used the word in the past. In this instance, it applies. So please miss me with this, you know, Black woman thing where, you know, you can't use that word against somebody else because of the connotation. In this instance, it applies. And in the same vein is this whole thing about the Brown Girl Squad. That came up where Camille, Zadia, and I think they included Mumin, who I don't believe is of their same ilk, but somehow she got packaged in with this. Is okay, fine. You want to give yourselves a little name, you want to be cute, you want to be funny, that's cool. But let's call a thing a thing. When you separate yourselves and you create this little group, and then y'all act aggressively towards people, you talking bad about people and all this stuff. Yes, you are now being perceived as a bully. As a collective, you're being perceived as a bully. And this is why I was concerned when Mumin was a part of them, because I don't think that's who she is at all. But, you know, you will be guilty by association. And Zadia, when the host, Tanika Ray, said to her, she's like, do you understand how what you're doing is separating yourself from everybody and it's becoming this exclusive group? Zadia is not stupid. She understood exactly what Tanika was saying, but she could not admit it, because if she admitted it, then she would be admitting that she was wrong. And when Tanika asked, well, could Sabrina be a part of this group? She tried to divert and said, well, you know, you heard her just curse me out. No, that's not what we're talking about here, Zadia, and you know that because you're smart enough to know what we're talking about. Sabrina can't be a part of that group. Why? Because she is not of the complexion. And let Sabrina, let's say Shiloh and Sydney have created a clique called the Light Skin Squad. Y'all would have lost your minds. Y'all would have been calling to Tommy and to Own and everybody else and Willie Packard to say, oh no, we need to cancel these women because this is colorism and all this other stuff. And nobody's saying that y'all can't be proud of your complexion and y'all can't be proud of the melanin and all this other stuff. Of course you can. But in creating a group and labeling it based on your complexion, you know exactly what you're doing. What you're doing is excluding other people. And then this bully behavior y'all have been exhibiting throughout the season lends to that. It's a us versus them thing. And I don't understand how neither of those women can understand that. So to illustrate their point about her being a bully, they bring up how when they were at that house on the retreat, Camille said, if anybody votes him off, I'll fuck y'all up. This woman sits here and lies and says she never said that. Again, they roll the tape. They show the captions. Now, I heard it the first time I watched it. They played it back. The audio was clear. They threw in the captions. Tanika even asked everybody who was there who heard it. Everybody raised their hand. And this chick sat here and said, no, I had my finger in my mouth. That's editing. That was a voiceover. I mean, Camille, come on. Now you're playing with our intelligence. Honey, you are not the smartest person in the room, and stop acting like you are. Put on your big girl panties and admit that you said it. Now, you could say you was joking. You could say you had been drinking. You could say you was feeling emotional. You could say a lot of things. But what you can't say is that you didn't say it. And a person that will lie, bold-faced lie, when there is evidence to the contrary is dangerous. But you know what? At the end of the day, we should not and we cannot care about this, because these are two grown people who have chosen to be in this unhealthy relationship with each other. She want to railroad him. She wants to dictate to him how he behaves, who he speaks to, where he goes, and how he dresses. And if he accepts it, who are we to say anything? Cornelius made his bed, and he's going to have to lay in it. That's all that comes down to. And I don't care about him. I care about the way that she treated those other women. I care about the bully behavior. I care about how she's lying to everybody, trying to make it sound like we didn't hear what we heard. You know, bottom line is Camille has a lot of growing up to do. And, you know, she's a woman of a certain age, so she's probably maxed out. This is her peak. She's never going to be anybody different, but it's just really sad to watch, and it's really pathetic. All right, so I'm going to end this video talking about this other dysfunctional, crazy chick, Zadia. Again, birds of a feather, right? Zadia is another one. Never liked her throughout the episode. She has a poor attitude. I did not like the way that she handled that situation with Dante, where she didn't get the answer she wanted. She put her hands on him. She put her finger in his forehead. She left, went to the elevator, came back, and feel like she had to put her hands on this man. And if Dante was a different type of dude, that would have all played out differently. And this is what tells me she's a punk as well, because you will put your finger in that man's forehead. But when you was going back and forth with Aisha, and Aisha was calling you out on your nonsense, you sat at that chair and you drank your Pinot Grigio. You didn't want to get up because you didn't want none of that smoke with Aisha, because you know she would have mopped you all over the floor. So people who pick and choose who they want to be big and tough with, I can't respect. If you a tough girl, you a tough girl all day, every day with everybody, but you're not. You know, she teamed up with Camille, and the two of them went on this rampage, just being mean girls to any and everybody all around them. Not a fan of hers at all. But let me talk a little bit about Naeem. This simp, you know, he chose Zadia, which calls into question your taste level to begin with, because all the reasons I just said, to the point Tommy even had to have a sit down with you and talk to you about her behavior, because the other men brought it to your attention and you still didn't see anything wrong with it. You are so laser focused on this woman who was clearly not laser focused on you. She had a thing for Dante, or Don, whatever his name is. She wasn't checking for you. You only were checking for her. So she did not choose you. She pursued the man who didn't want her. And now you're going to sit here in a reunion with your black soap outfit talking about defending her, talking about 8 out of the 9 men had chosen her, and that's why all the women targeted her. Just like every woman sat there and said, how the hell would all these women know that 8 out of 9 men chose her? Naeem, that doesn't make any sense. And you want to sit here like, no, everybody knows everything. Okay, fine. Break the fourth wall if you want to. But all the women at the same time, they didn't get together behind the scenes and say, this is what we're going to say. Their immediate reaction to that is nobody knew that. A, I don't know if it's true. And B, even if it's true, nobody knew that. Let's stop. Because Zadia is not that chick. Zadia is not that chick where all these men are going to be pining over her. So please, miss me with this, oh, y'all are all jealous of her. This brother sat at that reunion going hard to defend her. And I bet you she don't return your phone calls. She probably takes 72 hours to return your text. She's not feeling you. But she's going to keep you around. Why? Because when she needs a good dinner out, you dude she's going to call. When she needs her tire changed, she's going to call you because she knows you're a simp. You are a sucker. Tommy told you to your face to kind of look at the writing on the wall, Naeem, but he was oblivious to it. I don't know what's wrong with this dude, but he gonna learn. He thinks that if he supports her and plays her close and sits there, eventually he's gonna wait her out, and she's gonna turn, she's gonna look to him, and she's gonna think he's the one. It's not gonna happen. Many men, greater men than you, have tried it. It does not work out the way. And if she does choose you, it's going to be out of default. But again, you, just like Cornelius, you deserve whatever you get, because you also a grown man who has lived. And if you can't see the signs, then you get what you get. That's all I got. I know other things happen, but these are the three topics that, like I said, moved me to chorus because they triggered me so much. I was so angry watching this. I wanted to throw the remote at the screen. Um, I'm going to be watching reunion episode, you know what I'm trying to say, episode 2 of the part 2 of the reunion. So let's see what happens. And, I will talk about it. Please subscribe to my channel and you will get an alert to know when the video has been posted, and you will see what other videos I post. I'm reviewing a lot of different shows. Ready to Love, I guess season 6 is starting soon. It's going to be in the DMV, so depending on how that goes, I'm going to review that show as well. But yeah, please like, subscribe, and share, and I will be back next week to talk to you about the second part of the reunion.